I'll just open up just a couple things here. I'm meeting with all the players. Met with them yesterday and today. I'm not finished with everybody. I'm going to meet with some after a little later this evening, just due to class and some things. Haven't been able to get everybody in. But Will Barton came in and he talked to me yesterday. We had a good conversation, and I didn't even have to really bring it up. He kind of elaborated and just said, "I'm coming back, Coach." He said for all the right reasons. He wants to go out the right way. That he loves being a college student here. He knows he needs to get bigger, stronger, continue to mature, and so that's good news that he will be back. I expect everybody else to be back. Obviously, there's no guarantees or anything. I have not met with Wesley yet. I will meet with him tonight, but I'm expecting Wesley to be back. I don't see anything from there, and again, I expect everybody to be back. If something happened where a guy wasn't back, then we'll deal with it and either go sign somebody else or go with what we have. And other than that, with recruiting, we're keeping all options open. We're looking at everybody right now for the 2011 class. Obviously, we can't forget that we are going to need an important class in 2012. That's going to be really important. And but we are keeping all options open for 2011.
How encouraging is it that you were on the same page with Will, that you didn't even have to?
It was great, and he Twittered it, and I didn't. That was which is he came out and said it, so we were on the same page, and I was happy about that. I thought that was a sign of him maturing as well too, and not again. My thing is I don't want for you all, for Tiger Nation, I don't want anyone. There doesn't be any games being played, and what I appreciate about him, there wasn't going to be any games to be played. I mean, hey, Coach, this is a deal, boom, 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 and we need to get ready for next season.
He said he did think about the NBA labor situation a little bit. How do you think that might affect this year's draft?
There's no question there's going to be a lockout. I mean, again, that's from my personal opinion and from reading stuff and just talking to some people within the NBA that I know, but there's definitely going to be a lockout is what it seems like. And if there is, I don't know how much that will affect. I mean, I think there was, 99 with the lockout. It didn't affect too many people or whatever, 98, 99, whatever that was. People are still going to enter the draft because there is going to be a league.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to, whether there's a season or not, there's still going to be a league, and I think people are still going to enter. But I think that might play a little role, but we'll see because it could be one of those things if there's a lockout and you have the players union and the owners and with the CBA, they could come back and say, hey, we're going to put a certain age limit before you can come out. One, and or there could be less money you get as so if you enter into this draft, maybe I think you'd fit under the old rules regardless of what happens. So it's more for the following class.
You said you haven't met with Wesley.
I will today, yeah.
But does your gut tell you that you want him back and that you feel that he wants back? And I know he graduates too. So
correct. I told him I want Wesley back, and I expect him to be back. I don't expect him not to be back. I expect him to be back, and I think what he needs is with the summer of just getting his legs stronger and getting better on that. And I think he made a lot of improvements towards the end. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, I know it's been a one end to the other end of spectrum for him this year. I mean, he's been in all areas. And it's probably he might not be able to see it right now going through being in the forest. But again, Wesley's a good young man. I mean, he's a good kid. I mean, he's a good young man. I mean, he hasn't broken any law. We all make mistakes, and I've made many mistakes. And so part of Wesley is just to continue to grow, and I think he probably can't see it right now because you're just in a forest, as we all are when you're in the season. But I think this year will only help him going into next season. I think it's going to help him mature, to grow both on and off the court, physically and mentally, just in all areas. I think he might, again, like I said, you can't maybe see it right now, but I think it's going to be a godsend later on, just in terms of the year. It's going to actually come out as a positive for him because it's going to help him mature and grow and see some things that maybe he didn't expect early on, and just help him be that much more of a better player when you're looking as a student athlete looking for next season.
Speaking of growing and maturing, Will Barton actually said that the biggest thing he needed to work on was his maturity and
No
not
doubt.
necessarily the physical things. Comment on that and how much this is going to help him getting another year in college.
Well, it's going to help. I mean, being in college is you can't. I mean, again, as much as we talk about the education part, which you can't put a price tag on, I think what doesn't get talked about enough is what about the time management skills? What about the ability to learn about doing your own laundry or hey, coach, the structure and the discipline within? Because once you leave here, you don't have the structure and discipline. I mean, you're on your own in a sense. I mean, everybody here knows that. No one's telling you got to be here. You got to do it, otherwise there's consequences. So, and it's not running line drills. I mean, if you're late in your line of work, you can be fired. In our line of work, if you're a couple minutes late, you're probably going to run. If it becomes a severe thing, then I'll take them out of lineup or suspend you. But so those are things. I think another year that continuing to learn of not only stuff on the court but off the court, and I think that's a great sign from Will explaining that wanting to continue to mature, and that's just part of it.
Did you meet with Joe?
I'm going to meet with Joe today as well too. But Joe and I talked on the phone for a little bit, and we talked today. We talked on the phone, and one of the things that Joe has even mentioned is that, man, I realize now that, again, as we talked about just how important each game is. And secondly, he says, Coach, I want to be called the defensive stopper. And talk about his shift mentally from the beginning of the year to the end. He says, I take pride. I don't want to let my man score. I mean, I want you to look at me as that my man will not score. And I think that's one of the great signs is coming in here. Wasn't his focus, and now at the end he says, "Hey, Coach, next year I want to be known as a defense. I want you to put me on the other team's best player, and I want to let him score." I mean, that's his mentality. So, if anything, that's an unbelievable sign. That's another sign of maturity. That's a sign, as I've said, one of the great improvements you make is between your freshman and sophomore year, and that's the thing there from Joe.
You got all your players back. How about your staff? Because there's a lot of rumors out there about who's
Yep.
up for what job and that sort of
Well, I mean, again, we have a great staff. I mean, we have one of the best staffs in the country, and with that, there's going to be opportunities for guys. I don't want to lose anybody on our staff. I want them all to continue to hear, but I also don't want to ever stop them from continuing to advance. And I want everyone back, but I also understand there's going to be opportunities for others, and they'll have to make tough decisions. But I want to make it such that where their decisions make it very hard for them to leave Memphis if there's opportunities in front of them.
Josh, if everybody returns, that leaves you with one scholarship. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. If everyone's back, we'll have one open one. Correct.
No.
One open one, and it'll all depend on if we take somebody or not, and I can then be selected. Because again, if everyone's back, it's hard enough. I mean, you got to remember, you got Adonis Thomas, who's a good basketball player. Farrakhan Hall will be eligible at mid-year, and you got Hippolyte. Really, you got to look at as a freshman because he didn't play last year, so he joins the class. I mean, that's 12 guys. You can only play 5 at a time, and again, as everyone saw here, I mean, things work itself out, but you're going to have to play guys. So,
but you feel there's a void maybe in the front court?
It could be, but on the other hand, if you got to take someone who's the right fit,
right,
and who's good enough. But secondly, if something that doesn't work, then we'll have to play in a way that fits what we do. Because we still have good pieces. Yeah, you're right. Maybe you don't have that one big that you're talking about, but you've got other pieces. I think that still makes us hard to guard in a lot of areas.
Will Hippolyte be able to use his red shirt and still be a freshman next
He
year?
will be a redshirt freshman next year, medical redshirt freshman. Yeah.
Have you had to counter and start looking at other possible assistants with the possibility that they can move on, or is that something you'll wait on?
I would wait on that. I haven't not thought of any replacements because my thought process, everyone's going to be back, including the staff. And but again, if that happened where one of them had an opportunity to advance, get a head coaching job, something like that, I would then have to go to Plan B and open it up and see who can we hire.
Well, Martin talked about unfinished business. Do you have the same feeling, or?
I'm telling you, the loss still stings with me. And I woke up the next day. I was miserable over the weekend, and all I did was think about what do we need to do next year, what offense, what defense, what do we need to do so we can make a deep run. And it's funny. A couple weeks ago, you were just, man, if we got to the tournament, what a great year. Then you get there, and you just want more. I mean, and so it's like, what can we do to make a deep run? What do we need to do next year based on our personnel, offensive, defense? Like I was talking to our coaches, we need to be out talking to people this summer. I want to make sure we have anything that we need to do. And there's a couple of things that I'm going in my mind that our whole focus is. And It's defense, it's defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding, and transition offense. Just run, sprint, and we'll worry about all the other things, but those are 4 areas that are going to be the number one point of emphasis. Defense, defensive rebounding, offensive rebounding, and sprinting, running the ball in transition, just constantly off of made or missed baskets. Like little things. We need to work on the exchange of the outlet. It needs to be quicker, and just not being a handoff, more of an up the court and little things like that, and just really spending time on those 4 areas.
Josh, he's obviously your biggest rival on the other side of the state. With what happened with Bruce, I know you have a relationship with him. It doesn't surprise anybody what happened, but being in the coaching fraternity, your thoughts on what happened and maybe what's next for him?
Well, you never want to see a coach lose their job, because that's no fun, because not only it affects that individual, it affects the other people around them with their families as well too. And Coach Pearl has had tremendous success at Tennessee. There's no doubt about it. The 6 years he was there, it elevated the program to a new level. And but the facts are, right now, the NC2A is not messing around. I mean, in men's basketball, it is, you got to toe the line, and there is no gray area with compliance. And you've heard me say this before, 70 to 75% of my job is dealing in compliance to make sure there are no issues. That's important to me. I mean, that's my number one thing. And there is no, you got to remember, there's over 400 pages in the rule book, over thousands of interps. It's impossible to be 100% safe-proof. I mean, because anything can happen anytime. But you just do the very, very, very best you can, and then go from there. And if your principles and your motives are what are pure, then you should be in good shape. But I'm sure Coach Pearl is going to land somewhere, because, like I said, he's a big-time coach, and what he did at Tennessee was unbelievable. But that will be based on when he finds the right spot. I probably expect him to maybe do TV right now or go to the NBA.
But is this an opportunity, and not, again, with only one scholarship,
right?
But when you look at it, Tennessee and Memphis, for this kind of part of the country, you butt heads with a lot of players. Is this an opportunity with the transition that they're going to be going through to make sure to hammer the Memphis brand even more?
No question, but I'll be honest with you. We're going to focus on Memphis, and I think, you look at our track record of the Memphis kids that we've recruited. We were able to get them, and we have not focused or talked about another school. Our whole focus has been Memphis. And you look at Joe, you look at Chris Crawford, Tarek Black, you look at Farrakhan, Adonis. I mean, we never talked about another school. I never brought up anything about any other school, any other coach. I just talked only about the positives about Memphis, and I think with that attracted him here, because we didn't get into any other stuff.
Josh, have you spoken with RC, or are you scheduled to speak with RC about your future and your content?
I've talked to RC, and we'll just kind of, it's pretty much general conversation, nothing more than that. I have not been contacted by anybody. As I've told people, this job is probably one of the most 5 intense jobs in America, one of the most 5 intense jobs. That being said, it's not the coach. It's the program is what's successful. Any of us can be in this position here, and the program is going to thrive and succeed just because it's the program, and that's what makes this job so unique. So not me nor anybody else is bigger than the program. But that being said, we've talked generally and nothing more than that.
Can you understand that Tiger fans, though, are a little leery with what happened to the coach before you? That until there's an extension signed or something.
No doubt,
more concrete.
But that's great. But let me just say this: and Tiger Nation has my word that I'm not going to play game. I'm not going to. This is just me personally. I'm not going to play any games if no one's contacted me. If somebody's contacted me and you asked, I would tell you. And I'm not trying to hold anyone hostage. That's not my thing. Is my whole focus is for next season. And but my also thing is my focus. The reality is you never know. I mean, a couple weeks ago, people maybe weren't as happy with me. So the facts are it's not, like I said, it's not me. It's the program. I mean, look, hey, Coach Calipari, the 4 years he was here, he left. In that 4-year run, he left people. But you know what? We've come back, and the program survived, because it's not any individual coach. It's the program. Because you look at Gene Bartow, Larry Finch. I mean, you can go on down, John Cal. I mean, just everybody. And you look at all those guys, and Dana Kirk, and the program has always survived and continued to win at a high level because of the program, not because of the coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.